Episode 3 of the 4-part HBO sports documentary Shaq airs tonight at 9 Eastern on HBO and is available to stream on HBO Max. The one and the only Shaquille O'Neal here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line to talk about it. How you doing, Shaq? How you been?
I'm so upset with your assistant there, buddy.
Why? What happened?
He had me on hold for 30 seconds. That is not acceptable.
Shaq, Shaquille, I'm gonna talk to my people. How dare they?
Yes.
How dare they?
30 seconds? Are you kidding me?
I apologize, Mr. O'Neal, on behalf of the entire Rich Eisen Show community. I apologize. I'm great. How are you? I saw you got hip checked into a Christmas tree last night. Are you okay?
Yeah, it was cool. You know, we like to have fun up there. You know, but Ernie was so concerned. He's like, "Oh, you heard?" I was like, "Ernie, this is what I do." No, but listen, believe it or not, when I was young, before I wanted to be a basketball player, I wanted to be a stuntman. So I would always have trials and tribulations and teach myself how to fall. And I would like jump off buildings and climb monkey bars and fall off on purpose just to see. So, you know, the key is to when you get launched, try to land on the middle of your back. So if you go back to the video and slow it down,
yes,
you can see that as soon as he pushed me, I had to turn to the back because I want my back to hit the Christmas tree.
Oh.
And a bunch of pines, and pine cones in the back ain't never hurt nobody.
Well, I guess, you know, it's a contact sport now officially when Kenny's going to the big screen. It's officially a contact sport. Yeah. So I think he set the tone now, Shaq. Don't you think? That's a tone setter moment.
Kenny is 2-0 around Christmas time. He did that a long time ago, and he got me last night.
Oh.
But look, Kenny's so small, and we like to have fun. I wouldn't retaliate. If Charles would have did that, they would have had to. They would have had to go to that. We are having technical difficulties. We'll be on the air shortly. There would have been some furniture moving and some cameras flying. And Charles would have pushed me into that tree.
Okay, so I guess it's only fitting that it was Kenny. It was only the Jet who did that. Very good. Okay. Let's jump into your doc here, Shaq. What do you think of as you watch a documentary on your life? We had the director Robert Alexander in studio a couple weeks ago. He was fascinating in his perspective about putting this together. What are your thoughts on it?
You know, Robert did a good job. I'm programmed to, once something happens, you put it in the file and you move on. So he did a great job of asking me certain questions and bringing certain things out and helping me remember certain stories. I think he did a great job. I don't really get to show my vulnerability a lot. So a couple of times I show how vulnerable I am. I always like to show my thought process and how I thought. Like I would have some people come to me and say, "Is it true after you lose a game you tear your house up?" That's absolutely true. I wish I had the window contractor in Beverly Hills number because, me and him was on speed dial. He'd be like, "Shaq, I already know you missed, 12 out of 29 free throws. Which window is it?" "It's the same kitchen window." "All right, I'm going to order 4."
Come on.
That was my.
Come on.
Yeah, I would go crazy because I don't like to let people down. I don't like to let my family down. I don't like to let the fans down. I don't like to let the city down. And you know how it is in the NBA. Like that, those one games you can end up playing Utah, which we did in those years, and we got swept, or you can end up playing San Antonio, Sacramento, who I'd rather play. It was interesting that during our championship years, we kind of stayed away from Utah. But when I first got there, Utah was the only team that would sweep us. So we kind of wanted to stay away from them. But so I didn't like letting people down. So when I felt like I let people down, I had to release that energy.
So did you? What footage have you seen from the doc where it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened? Did that anything like that?
Mostly all of it. Especially stories growing up as a child. Because again, my father was a drill sergeant. So when you do something, you get it done and then you move on. That's why every time I won a championship, I would have to come home the next day. Like we celebrate and do that, but I had to come home the next day. It was ritual. And that little MVP ball trophy, and I had to give it to him and get back on the plane. He said, "Okay, have fun for the summer. Get ready. See if you can get another one." And that was it.
Shaquille O'Neal here on the Rich Eisen Show. There's an interesting part in tonight's episode, Shaq, that I saw where you're winning with Kobe and you're winning with the Lakers and you've got multiple rings now and 3 MVP awards from the NBA Finals in a row, and then they cut to Penny Hardaway your former Magic teammate, saying he was jealous, saying that when he was watching you after leaving Orlando, going to L.A. and do that, he said that should have been me. What did you think of when you hear that, Shaq?
And I believe that. Penny was Kobe before Kobe. You know, a lot of people, as great as Kobe was, Kobe first 2 years he had to get adjusted. Penny came in great. You know, when Penny came, I think we made it to the finals. That's not that first year, the second year. Penny was great. I kind of felt his pain. And the business of basketball is a tricky thing. You got the business of basketball, you got egos. I felt we could have definitely got one or two. I was telling the guys last night because they asked me, I said, us winning 3 in a row in Orlando, I don't know, because it's a system thing. The triangle is an intricate system that not a lot of people understand. So as good as we were, I think the system made us even better. In Orlando, when you're running the traditional offense, the floppy and the pick and roll and all that, a lot of things can go wrong when you run those type of offense. But the triangle, when you do something so consistent, it's kind of hard to stop. So, again, I think Penny and I could have got 1 or 2, but 3 in a row, I don't know about that.
And, I mean, just seeing you, I mean, we have a photograph on the screen. I mean, just you're a baby, man, back in Orlando. I mean, it's you guys could have grown old together, pretty much.
Yeah,
you know?
We could have. But, listen, I've always tried to take advantage of opportunities. And I knew I was, emerging as one of the best centers in the league, and the game was changing, the money was changing, and I always think Juwan Howard and Alonzo Mourning, because I really didn't like to get to the money game. I always relied on what my agent said I can get. Never really got into it, but when Juwan signed for 110 or 115, and then Alonzo signed, I was like, well, I am a little bit better. No disrespect to those guys. My numbers are higher than those guys. I am a little bit better, so you're going to have to pay me more. So we went to the Orlando, and they weren't interested. And then Mr. Jerry West came to the hotel that day and showed me a piece of paper that had so many zeros on it, Rich. I thought my face was going to fall off. All I saw was 120, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0. I was like, I signed. And I was comfortable signing because whenever we lost in Orlando, I was in L.A. the next day, working on movies, working on albums, just hanging out. I didn't want to be in Orlando versus being in, sunny California. So I already had a house out there. I already knew people out there. I knew the spots. There was a spot called Sports Club L.A., which is now Equinox on Sepulveda. I used to work out. I used to go to all my restaurants, Jerry's Deli on Sunset. Used to hang out on, Manhattan Beach, go to the courts and play with the kids. So I was already familiar with Los Angeles. So when I signed it, I was like, I'm just going to make my summer home into my permanent home and turn my permanent home into my summer home. And it worked out very well. When you grow up with a drill sergeant, my father would always say, don't make a choice, make a decision. And you live with that decision. I had choices, stay with Orlando or go to L.A. I made the decision to go to L.A., and it was the right decision. It had to be the right decision because if I'd have went there and me and Kobe wouldn't have won any, it was, guys would really be talking about the so-called beef Kobe and I had. That's why I always laugh at people. Oh, you and Kobe, you didn't get along. Well, we got along enough to win 3 out of 4. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but that's 75%.
Well, we had the director, Robert Alexander, of your documentary. I got Shaquille O'Neal here. Shaq, part 3 of the 4-part HBO documentary called Shaq, airing tonight, 9 Eastern on HBO, available to stream on HBO Max. Robert Alexander said that Kobe's family called up and said, can you not make this as less Kobe-centric than it might be or is in the edit bay? Does that surprise you, Shaq?
I don't know. We all miss him. We all wish he was here. I'm not familiar with that story. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't do that anyway. Our story is well documented, so it doesn't pay anybody any good to keep going over it. The basic of the story is the respect was there. That's all that mattered. Everybody wants us guys in the locker room. We travel all the time. It ain't gonna be rosy cheeks all the time. Tell me you're gonna have bumps in the road. But I always tell people. You think we had beef, and go back. That first championship after Reggie misses the shot, somebody get the rebound. You see me go in the middle of the floor and put both hands up. It's 30,000 people in the arena, about 1,000 people on rush the floor. The sea opens up. Who's the first guy to jump in my arms? Look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. So if we don't like each other, I think everybody got fooled. And you should be fooled because I knew what I was doing when it comes to marketing. I want you to talk about me and Kobe's little beef. And, we had some problems. You shoot, I shoot. But that's on every team. You don't think guys have a problem with, guys taking all the extra shots? Listen, I'm the big guy. I'm saying I want it first. Kobe's the star saying, no, I got it. And you have those things. But when you got two of the best guys competing with each other, trying to outscore each other, you know what you got? You got Shaq 40 points, and you got Kobe 38, 78 points. Right? And all I need is Big Shot Bob to hit a three, and, Rob and Rick and do all that. So and that's why, like, most of the time when we got to the finals, you couldn't stop us because I know he was trying to get the finals MVP, and so was I. But, I miss him. I haven't had much communication with his family, but I watch him from afar. His daughters are beautiful, and his wife's beautiful, so I wish him well. But it wasn't going to be no bashing because, again, our story is already well documented. And, people think they know the inside. I know the inside. The only thing you need to know and understand is we definitely have respect for each other because if we didn't, we wouldn't have been able to win 3 out of 4.
Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal here on the Rich Eisen Show. Again, Shaq is airing tonight. You just mentioned moments ago that you made your summer home your permanent home because you were out in Los Angeles as much as you were after games in Orlando, and so you just decided, well, I'll just go to Los Angeles and I'll do it all at the same time. Do you think that decision, to use the phrase that your father said, make decisions not choices, is why LeBron's still here? Do you think, Shaq?
Well, I would say yes. Listen, everybody loves California. Everybody loves the Laker organization. LeBron did what he was supposed to do. He got down there and won. But look, we're all competitors. I know LeBron is saying, hey, the Kareem record is near. I'm going to get that. Let me get another championship so I can tie Magic. Let me, hopefully Jeannie will come down here one day and say, LeBron, when you're done, we're going to put your jersey in the Raptor. He's a competitor, and all athletes should be competitors. People ask me, should this season be about him breaking a record if they don't win a championship? The answer is hell yes. I'm actually jealous. I wish I could be the guy that passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar up, to be the greatest scorer in, NBA history. A kid from Akron, Ohio, who never gets in trouble, always does the right thing, plays the game the right way. People always say, LeBron is the pass-first guy. Well, if he's a pass-first guy, how is he about to pass Kareem up in points? So I'm happy for LeBron. And when he gets the record, I'll be the first one to tweet and the first one to congratulate him. And then another story will start. Who's going to pass him up? How long is his thing going to stand? Because Kareem record stood for how long, Rich? 30-something years?
Yep, that long.
Yeah. So LeBron, and then knowing LeBron, he's such a good chef. He may play another year, take that thing to 41, 42,000, which means nobody will ever break it again.
Yeah, I know. The question is the other championship part of it that you just threw in there. That clearly doesn't look like that's going to happen this year, and there'll have to be some building towards it.
His book is still a bestseller, and when you add 5 championships, it will just stay on the charts a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
You got 4 championship rings. His book is solidified as a bestseller. If you get 5, now you start to add another chapter. Who's really the greatest point guard from the Laker history? Is it Magic with 5? Is it Kobe with 4? Or is it LeBron with 5? It just creates more stories and more barbershop talk. So I'm happy for LeBron. And listen, AD's playing lights out. He got hurt last night. He only did a couple minutes last night, but he's playing lights out. And they won 8 out of 10, 8 out of 11, and they're still in the 13th spot. However, they're only 1-2 spots out of the 8th spot. So I'm sure they're going to get it going. With Russell starting to, slow down a little bit and, get it going. So I think they can move up to that number 7, number 6 spot if they can get some sort of consistency. Because they played really hard last night, but Donovan Mitchell just came out of nowhere last night.
He's really, and they are playing really well, Cleveland. And in the few minutes I have left with you, there are 2 13 and 12 teams the Warriors and the Nets. If you had to place your Shaquille O'Neal, check mark against one of them that you think that they have the chance to go from 13-12 to the championship, what do you think? Who do you think?
Well, I'm going with the Warriors. They have the blueprint. Steph Curry's best player in the game. Draymond does what he does, and Clay's been a little up and down, but they have the blueprint. They've done it the right way. They also have 4. They're also looking to climb into that number 5 spot so they could talk a little bit more trash. It's just, look, when you win championships, you know what you have to do. You know the other team's going to be playing way above their head. But by All-Star game, they should start to tighten it up a little bit. Clay should start to get his legs back, and they should really start to get it cracking. Because when you're a championship team, you don't need home court advantage. And I wouldn't want to play Steph Curry in the first round. I don't care if they're at home or if we're at home. I don't want to see Mr. Steph Curry in that first round.
And then tonight's game between the Celtics and the Suns, if I said that you could take that as the preview for the NBA Finals or the rest of the field, what would you take right now here, top of December?
I would say you are correct. You have been a visionary of the game for a long time. I respect your word.
Thank you, sir.
I respect you. I respect your wife.
Thank you.
For the work you have done.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I believe what you say because this is what you do. You've been doing it for a long time. A lot of people can see that. I can also see that too.
Okay. Well, you know what? We can talk about it when there's a documentary called Rich. A 4-part documentary. Oh, Susie. That's probably more possible. Susie. He'll be part of that documentary as well.
Let me know because I produce this documentary, Jersey Legends, baby.
I love it.
I'm producing movies and films now. Let me know.
We'll do that. One of my favorite stories Susie told me when she was covering the Lakers when you were playing Shaq. It was the Shaq Kobe Lakers that she was covering. Is we got engaged. That she calls me up and she goes, Shaquille was very impressed with the ring that you got me, and that made me, as I was sitting on the set of SportsCenter, puffing my chest out, Shaquille. So I appreciate your support.
No, because she came in with the ring. I was like, damn, who your boyfriend? She's like, Rich Eisen. I was like, my Rich? My Rich from channel 206, maybe 207.
That's me. That was me back in the day. Channel 206.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me. That's right.
Okay.
I really felt, I was like, okay, I did a good job. I thought I had. I really felt that I had, but then when she calls me up, she goes, Shaquille O'Neal said, good job. I'm like, okay.
Diesel approved.
I knew I got, like, you know about rings, that I know. So,
Then I asked her, I said, why'd you marry Rich? I said, don't let that suit fool you. When he takes his clothes off, he looks like Fabio. I was like, oh, okay. Rich Fabio Eisen. I was like, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I knew you've been in my corner for a long time, Shaquille O'Neal. Thanks,
Yep.
Thanks again. Congrats on the doc. Right back at you. There you go.
All right,
Shaquille O'Neal, everybody, right here on the show. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.